Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, JJ and Alex, another edition of the show. I want to say right off the bat, JJ, first of all, how are you?
I'm good.
Back to you.
I'm glad that no part of my life is tied to some committee.
I want to say this. I've been thinking about how am I going to – I'm like basically speechless still. I don't really know how to feel, frankly, about it.
It's not a good radio show, so hopefully not.
Not having an opinion is not good. But
yeah.
My initial thought is this. Man, we had a really fun year. And that's like the glass half empty or glass half full thing.
Thank you.
I think that
Can we acknowledge that first?
Lost in all of this is watching the sad interviews with the players who are saying, we should have been able to compete at a higher level. We wish we would have. The videos of, I think we should have been in. I think we should get a second chance. All the fans who are coming forward, all the people who are, all of those things. The committee, the national pundits, the alumni of institutions that were, supposedly slighted. In the end, this is still one of the great seasons of BYU football for two major reasons. There are multiple, but the two biggest ones are, number one, and far and away the most important, is Kalani Sitake staying for a long, long time, and the amount of money that they're putting behind it. No doubt. That is number one. Number two, it's look what a true freshman can do. Look what we all doubted it, frankly. We had no idea what was going to be coming out of camp. I think we all assumed it was going to be.
We wondered if they get. Oh, here's 6 wins. How does BYU? When we're breaking down the schedule in July, well, actually, 1st of August when we found out that Bear was going to be the quarterback, Alex, we're breaking the schedule down and thinking, well, it's really soft beginning of the schedule, which is good for Bear.
Yeah, for sure.
Get his feet wet. Then they can get to 6 wins, and then everything else is gravy. Boy, did they exceed those expectations. My goodness.
How many times has BYU gone 11-1 in a season? They went 12-1, right? In the Croton.
12-2, I think, was the final record.
Yeah, because they lose in the Liberty Bowl because they felt slighted.
Everybody
right?
wants to forget about the Liberty Bowl.
Right. No, but that Hawaii game was.
Oh my gosh.
There were similar feelings, right?
Yeah.
A lot of comparables, except for this was a Big 12 championship game. That's the difference. They made it to the Big 12 championship game, and I know that there's nothing that soothes the aching football soul when you tell somebody, hey, man, but you guys still did pretty good. Like the little pat on the back after you lost.
They got crushed.
And not only that, they've been crushed twice by that team. So there was part of me that walked away from that game and said, well, I can get on board of the idea of BYU not being a college football playoff ready team in that moment. But I think what we really saw was they're not ready for the semifinals because that's probably where you're going to see Texas Tech. They're going to match up
That's
likely.
the 4th best team in the country right now. I think they might be better than that.
Yeah. I mean, you could have made a case to move them up anyway because of how they did handle business and because Ohio State lost. And you could just go, hey, you guys lost your last game. But they didn't ding them that much, and you probably shouldn't. But there is a collision course for Texas Tech and Indiana to meet one another. And talk about two programs that people are like, I don't know, a national championship? Are you kidding me? So I had to tell myself over the weekend, I think BYU was certainly I had a hard time convincing myself that they were a college football playoff team after watching that. And then I said, well, they're not in the college football playoff, but they definitely are better than the 12, the 11. Jake Retzlaff, congrats, my guy.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that wild?
He chose wisely.
And then you could make a case Miami and Notre Dame certainly, from a resume standpoint, they stack up. And I know that –
Is Alabama a playoff team?
Alabama, that story is wild. That story's why I see why Notre Dame's pissed.
We'll get into that. I'm pretty angry about that. Everyone's skirting past Alabama, all the controversies Notre Dame, Miami.
I love it.
How does Alabama get away with that?
I love that the committee was so all over the place that it actually made it look dumber, and it made them have to make they're going to have to refocus how they do this thing. If there is any case to be made that you add teams to the playoff, that you figure out a better way, all of it is going to have to be ironed out by some people who are smarter than the committee that's been going forward. This model of the 12-team model, it's so much fun compared to the 14 model. It gives us a legitimate, or at least legitimate feeling national champion, right?
It gives everybody a path.
And so I get it. We'll talk about the college football playoff stuff a little bit more, but I think that all those things that get caught up in the mix, BYU, having the season that they did, is getting lost in all of this. I really do. You see more people talking about.
I think Utah's season is getting lost in all of this too.
It's crazy that you have.
They went 10-2.
You have 2 top 15 teams in the state, and we had no idea. We thought for sure. You kind of crossed your fingers that Utah could figure it out and come back, and then BYU. You're right. I just think that the 7-5 number kind of got to people's heads. They're like, yeah, 7-5, 8-4 could be nice. Right? But think about that compared to what we have. I want to kick the show off officially. We're at John Watson Chevrolet here in Ogden, the site of the yearly tradition of having our Player of the Week honors, and the KSL Sports and John Watson Chevrolet marrying every year at this very event, every time. Phenomenal. And they have more chairs set up to honor these prep players that we've ever seen in this place. I think Corey was telling me that this is definitely going to be the biggest party they've ever had. I thought that is awesome because I want to make sure those high school kids get honored, man. And we have tremendous prep programs here in the state of Utah, so we're going to do a full week of honoring these athletes. And so you're going to want to stay tuned, of course, all week. But let's kick things off here. Let's talk about the actual X's and O's of that football game that happened on Saturday. BYU, Texas Tech. And I think kind of a lesson learned of a lot of different areas where BYU could get to that next level. Let's jump in right here. It is The Cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJAN Wealth. Trajan Wealth. For all of your trusted local needs in retirement, hit them up. Hey, JJ, I'm going to hit you up on your thoughts because, as usual, we try to keep ourselves 100% fresh till right now, till we get to have this conversation. We both watched that football game in different places this past Saturday. It had been previewed all the way walking up to it. And BYU started off strong, which is wild because they hadn't started off strong in a lot of games this year, and they came out fighting. They were up 7-0, and that 7 was it. And that 90-yard drive was it from the offensive side of the ball. The rest of the time was trying to make sure your defense was fresh against a Texas Tech offense and defense that was so well prepped and has so much talent on both sides of the ball that it would be hard to beat that team on that day, I think, with anybody in this country. BYU ran into a buzzsaw. They're not there yet. They're not Big 12 champions. They're not in the college football playoff. And they needed to show up a lot bigger to be able to say that and to be able to be those things, right? But in the end, Bear Bachmeier got shaken up. That ankle
on that first drive.
That ankle was not good, and you could tell that that confidence went away. L.J. Martin, I think, was a strong runner. He did his same thing. There were times I thought they could have handed the ball off to him more, maybe to get things going. I just want to get your thoughts on BYU's loss, the blowout loss to Texas Tech the second time around, this time in the Big 12 Championship.
Yeah, there's so much at stake in that game, and it was a bummer for BYU that they basically had the same result as the first time around, and you just have to sit back and tip your hat to Texas Tech. That's a juggernaut. We've talked about it. I felt that way watching them play Utah, watching them play BYU. They're at another level, and everybody else in the Big 12 is looking up at that program right now. Utah's got to ask themselves this question. BYU's got to ask themselves this question. How are we going to keep up with them? How are we going to beat them? Because they're just getting started. Now the chase is on in this league. This is good for the league, by the way. This is really good for the league. You need somebody like Texas Tech to move the needle forward, and everybody else has got to catch up. And they will. I believe they will. I believe BYU and Utah will do whatever they have. We saw last week BYU stepping up in a big way to make sure Kalani Sitake is extended, that he's getting paid on par with other big-time coaches in the country, and the NIL money is going to completely change BYU and what they're able to do with what they're going to get in with this new deal. Utah's got to do the same thing, and we'll see what Kyle Whittingham's decision is moving forward, how that impacts things up there. But you see the makings of Utah and that offense and what they've been able to do of being able to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses are Texas Tech in this league. So that's my takeaway from this game. There's no point in breaking down what happened in that game. Texas Tech's just by far the better team. BYU just did not have enough. That's just bottom line, did not have enough to beat that team and match up with that team. We've seen it twice now. Okay? And BYU had their shot twice to beat that team. And if they would have won one of those games, we'd be having a college football playoff discussion right now, maybe even talking about BYU hosting a college football playoff game. But that's not what we're going to talk about today, because that's not happening. There's another conversation to be had about the 12-team playoff, how BYU was treated by that committee this time around, which is very, very discouraging and disappointing, because BYU did not get the respect that they deserved. They were underranked the entire process, which put them behind the eight ball unfairly. When you take their resume and you match it up with Miami and Notre Dame and even Alabama, you can make a case for BYU needing to be ahead of those teams. And before this game was played, based on what had happened up to that point, BYU should have been ranked higher as a one-loss team with 6th overall strength of record. They said BYU wasn't in before going into this week. Well, why not? You should have punished them after the Big 12 championship game. And why did BYU get punished for playing the Big 12 championship game and Alabama didn't? Alabama's sitting right now with 3 losses. One of those losses was a double-digit loss to a 5-7 team. And they replayed the team that they beat, that everyone's hanging their hat on, with that game and that win over Georgia, and they got absolutely boat raced on the same Saturday that BYU did. Why are they getting excused? They didn't even move. So
what was it? -3 rushing yards.
Yeah. So you're right. Exactly what you said is
we have the best offense in the country. We know we have the best offense in the country. That was what Simpson said after the game.
My gosh.
No, these coddled kids are believing anything that their daddy's telling them.
Coddled kids. You want to talk about Notre Dame? Talk about sport, like an entire university and athletic department acting like a spoiled child.
Amazing.
It's like,
wouldn't have it any other way from those guys.
Take your ball and run away.
Really wouldn't have it any other way.
What a great lesson Notre Dame is teaching their student athletes this week. If you don't get what you want, quit.
No, but it's even worse. It's more like you have no idea how much better we are than you guys. And
the arrogance.
And we believe it. Yeah, and it's crazy, and it's just.
Oh, you think you're that good? Go play BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Do you think Notre Dame gets in the locker room or gets in the athletic department and Pete Bavacqua goes, "You guys, let's stay hungry and stay humble, okay?"
Oh yeah.
Humble does not come into that.
How about him threatening the ACC today?
Do it.
It's pretty bold, man.
Do it.
Without an ACC schedule boost, who are they playing?
I know. It would be. Listen,
that's why they're not in the playoffs.
They can make phone calls and play anybody, but here's the reality.
Their
of
best
schedule.
win was USC. They didn't play anybody or beat anybody more specifically.
Listen, I didn't intend to get into Notre Dame right now, but let me say something. Okay.
Okay.
Notre Dame is a wild thing for me because I looked at their next year's schedule, by the way, and it's, take your pick with half ACC teams and then a smattering of, we're a traditional rivalry. Your Stanfords and your USCs that
they're not going to play anymore?
No. Well, next year they're still playing them. They're on the.
When do they end their schedule with?
I think next year's
their
the
scheduling
one.
agreement with USC has come to an end.
Maybe it's 28 or something like that, because they're still on, at least it shows it's on next year's schedule. But here's how they do it. Because Notre Dame has 6 home games. Now, in some years, they have 7.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not just that. They have the 6 home games, and then they require that some of these teams that are playing them, they won't go to their stadiums. So they have 3 neutral site games.
Right.
They have 9 games every season.
They have 3 true road games
that are built in to give them an advantage.
Right.
In the Shamrock series that they do all those things. You know what I mean? And so in the end, you look at their schedule and it's hard to stomach what people – I don't know what the Big 12 has to do Is it Texas? I don't even think Texas Tech winning a national championship is going to change a committee's mind on what they believe about this conference, the Big 12 conference. I don't think Texas Tech will come in, and I think it'll be cute. You know what I mean? It'll be.
Remember, TCU was in the national championship game.
I know, and they had
4 years ago.
And by the way,
years ago.
And they beat Michigan to get there.
Right.
On top of the fact that they lost in a Big 12 championship game. And guess what? Hey, it's crazy that this year. So last year, BYU, you could have made the argument that they could have gotten in. And fine. I don't know. I mean, obviously they had a better resume than SMU because they had the same record, and then they won the head-to-head. That wouldn't have been allowed, by the way, in this year.
Notice how we're comparing the head-to-head so closely this year as opposed to last year?
But see, that's what I was going to ask. The
inconsistency drives me
Well, the
insane.
metrics don't work with anything. We say strength of record and strength of schedule, but nobody actually uses that. I don't think they do. Maybe they do just for their sake of argument. I've never heard them really talk that much about it.
So what do they use? They didn't explain themselves well.
I don't know. That's part of the problem is that they didn't explain themselves well, and it's just a mess. So the 10-2 last year, they almost get in.
Right.
Okay, do better.
I guess
11-1 this year. They do better.
Yeah.
So you better. Hey, if you're going to get to the college football playoff, you better play better than 10-2. 11-1. Go to the Big 12 championship game. Hey. You better be better than that, all right, going forward. All right, we'll talk. Get 12 wins, and we'll talk, okay? Like, that's wild that the committee is asking BYU to
even
be
undefeated,
there.
I bet they'd be behind one-loss teams.
Oh, for sure. And I think that they would have been –
which is insane.
They would have been – you would have seen them never get above 3, I think, during the season. Anyway, regardless.
Well, look where Texas Tech is at.
All the things that are happening there, okay? Let's go back to the count your blessings part of the of this. They end the season at number 12 in the AP poll, right?
Yeah.
Number 12 in the college football playoff poll, too?
Yep.
Or were they down one? So last year I think they finished
second team out.
Were they 13th last year after it was all done?
Yeah.
And so you talk about the level of consistency to be able to get there and to win that much. This is what BYU fans have been probably praying for a long, long time, is consistency, double-digit win seasons, because that used to be the heyday, the norm, I guess. I don't even think this was the norm. I think that going 11-1 and having the season that they did, getting the absolute their teeth kicked in by Texas Tech, I think my ending thought on BYU playing in that conference championship game and where they are is this. I don't know if they're a college football playoff team. I don't know if they'd be good enough to be a college football playoff team. But that's not who they played this weekend. They went up against probably not just a top 4 team in the country, probably going to end up in the top 4 at least. They're going to play in a semifinal. They're going to beat Oregon. Oregon's going to beat one of the –
They're playing James Madison.
They're playing JMU up in Eugene. They're going to win that game. Oregon is going to play, and that one's the Orange Bowl, I think, between those two. And that is going to be it's going to be a great game, and you hope for those. They'll win that game against Oregon, and then they're going to play Indiana, and we're going to get to see how they do against these teams, because that's the team that's beating BYU. It's a national championship caliber team, so the comparisons are hard because you don't know how well they're going to do against a lot of these other teams, and it's a bummer that you can't just go up against number 11 Notre Dame and figure it out, but. There we are.
Everything you said is true about BYU. Great season. Fans should be grateful. The team has exceeded expectations. Kalani's extended. That's all great. But there's something unsettling. And I think BYU fans want me to say this right now. There's something unsettling about a system that feels like it's rigged, and it's rigged against you. You just said they're moving the goalposts each and every year on BYU and others.
Well, they're going to hold all the teams that are in the Big 12 to that standard then, where they just kind of go, because I don't know what it needs to be to where they change the attitude about it.
BYU's resume is just as good as Miami's,
they don't look
Notre
at
Dame's, and Alabama's.
Yeah, they don't look at it.
That's their job as a committee to look at it. Okay? They're a committee, and they've signed up for that committee, and there is a responsibility to get it right. And whatever homework has to be done, whatever time has to be spent watching games. Look, if the guys in that room, and I don't know what goes on. I can't speak for what they do, but it feels like it seems impossible that they're watching hundreds of games. Like, those are very busy, very important people that have a lot on their plate. They're not watching 100 games a week. You know what I mean? They're not. It's impossible. So how are they coming to the conclusions that they're coming to? And let's not let ESPN off the hook here either. You have ESPN put on that show every Tuesday night, and this is a glorified reality TV show, essentially, every Tuesday. You should not be doing this because it paints the committee in a corner. You're making rankings week, 8? And say, okay, this is where we see teams are. Basically, it's just a reflection of the AP poll.
I know.
Back to your point that we talked about before the season. The AP poll does matter
it
because
totally
where
does.
do you think they start?
1,000%. You think these guys aren't
They're
effective?
not like.
Oh, we go from 0. Well, then guess what?
No, you don't.
So let me guess.
And if they go from 0 every week, they didn't do that this week.
Of course not. Georgia Southern.
Alabama looked terrible this week.
Come on. Yeah.
Alabama didn't look like a playoff team this week. So they have a tremendous responsibility. Something there has to be changed and remedied. But ESPN's not going to give up that Tuesday night ratings bonanza. So that's going to go on. And you're going to have a committee deciding this. And I'm not sure committee's the best way to do this. I think you need to take it out of the hands of the committee. And if you have to do auto bids and play-in games, you do that. You have to reduce the impact and the power that the committee has in choosing these games. And you have to do something to reduce the impact and power and influence that ESPN has on who gets into a playoff if you want this to be a true college football playoff.
So they'd never end the TV side of it. I mean,
why? Of course not. There's too much money on the line.
So when people say, I'm calling for them to get rid of the whole dang
but where's most of their money invested in? The SEC.
But I'm telling you, the
it's
reality
in their best
is,
interest to get as many SEC teams in, and what did we see?
But again, they're never going to. So when people are asking, you need to get rid of the ranking shows. It promises these kids dreams and then they dash them, and you go, yeah, okay. But the reality is I kind of
creates narratives.
We talk about
backs the committee into a corner.
I love it because what you get is stuff like this year, which last year there were, it was Alabama getting left behind, and everybody thought, oh my goodness, they were serious about leaving.
They weren't good enough last year to be in the playoff.
Right.
They had their chances to play their way in. That's the same thing we tell everybody else. You had your chance. BYU, you had your chances. You had 2 shots against Texas Tech. You got your butt kicked both times. But guess what? You can say the same thing about Miami. Miami, you beat Notre Dame. You had a great win. But what did you do? You lost to 2 teams that were unranked in your conference. You didn't even make your conference championship game. How can you be in the playoff when you're not good enough to be in the championship game in the ACC, which ended up not getting a team in outside of Miami? Their champion did not get in the playoff.
Shout out to the Duke Blue Devils.
What a joke.
For ruining everybody's
And then Notre
weekend.
Dame? Notre Dame. Yeah. You did have tough losses against Miami and Texas A&M. And your best win is against USC, and the rest of the teams you played were garbage. Why do you deserve to be in?
Right.
And you didn't win your big games. If you beat Texas A&M and you beat Miami, you'd be in. Isn't that what they're telling BYU? BYU, if you would have beat Texas Tech, you'd be in. Why aren't they telling Notre Dame that? Why aren't they telling the other teams that? And why did Miami get away with what they got away with? It's ridiculous.
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back. More to go. The John Watson Chevrolet up here in Ogden is where we are. It's the Players of the Week honors that we're going to be doing for Northern Utah. And the festivities start up tonight. We're going to interview some of these high school athletes as well. Stay right here with us. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
What time is it?
Your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball is right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Carlson feeling it, fires, hits again, 3 for 3. Clayton on the run, weaving, bobbing, gets into the window, floats it up and scores it. And Mark Dagnall wants a timeout as Walter Clayton Jr. continues to play very well for the Jazz. Clayton, quick answer the left side with 3, got it! Introducing you to Walter Clayton Jr. He is here, and he is now. Clayton driving, gets through 2 guys, swing through, flares to Hendricks. Taylor will shoot the 3 from the corner and hit.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Appreciate you being a part of it. I'm sure at this point you've probably seen floating around the now semi-viral video of Will Hardy, I hope you're sitting down, cussing at the players who aren't playing very hard.
People didn't know that this takes place?
I saw Ben.
Sometimes coaches say swears. I don't know how to put this, folks.
Hey, by the way, even your favorite ones.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense environment.
No, your favorite swears, not your favorite coaches. No, I saw Ben Anderson and I go, Ben, I love that video got out because all it does is just show people. I think it's every huddle. It's not just like. He gets in there with some crazy intensity, and he goes at it.
As he should.
And by the way,
he's not demeaning anybody.
No. Listen, these guys are getting paid well to go out and put a lot of effort out there. And when he's not seeing it, he goes after him. That's like the worst thing for Will Hardy, is not getting back on defense and not hustling, right? Not getting out there and busting your tail. They were down 25 in the first quarter by the time it was the end of the first quarter against the Thunder last night. You're darn right those guys needed to hear some
If you
crap.
paid for a ticket and you watched that team play last night and you're watching Brandon Carlson
we gave out
dunk on them and kick their butt. By the way, Brandon Carlson, incredible last
amazing.
night.
By the way,
that team's so good.
SGA-less, by the way.
No,
doesn't matter.
They don't need them.
Doesn't matter. They're going to go – they might win 80 games. So, in the end, though, like it's crazy because these guys, they go out and they play and they're and you expect it out of them. You expect the effort. And it doesn't happen. We gave away tickets to that. We apologize. Last week on our Jazz Ticket Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. That was for the Thunder game.
The Jazz apologized. No, but it was. But I'm telling you, they were down. They were down 25 in the first quarter, and when it started to progress, and they kind of got a. I mean, they got beat every quarter. The third quarter was terrible. Again, they've been so bad in the third quarter. They come out of the locker room, and I just don't know why. Now, Keontae George had. The good news is the Keontae George that we saw last night is the one that we've seen fewer and further between moments in the season. He's been phenomenal, and then he'll have games like last night every once in a while, and it was inverse last year and the last 2 years, right? So this version of Keontae George, the one from last night, I know that's not actually him. We've seen what he actually does. Larry Markkinen not in the game, that affects things. You try to put Kyle Filipowski, shift him over, he's your only big man on the roster, right? I mean, essentially, and it's a tough thing to try to ask him to do. But you know what? It's a trial by fire, I guess. And so Kyle Filipowski, he goes out and he tries his darndest, and you couldn't cobble it together. What did Walter Clayton Jr. have? 20 points? He came in and he's got
20 points, which
is
a career high. Obviously, he's a rookie, so he's still making career high marks all the time. But it was a good opportunity. Look, we have to have perspective. You know, it's the Thunder. This is a historically good team. Last year they were the world champions, and they're better this year. And we talked about this last year. If this Thunder team's ready to take that leap now, with this young roster, this team's going to be a juggernaut for a decade. And we're seeing it already. This team is better this year. 23-1 start. Only the third team in NBA history with such a start. So not only are they good, as in championship good, they are now historically good. Yeah,
24-0 was that 2018 Warriors team that ended up going – no, 2016. They go 73-9, didn't win the championship.
Yeah.
So regardless, I think this is not only are they the reigning champs, they have something going on there that is there's a culture thing that has been built.
Even without SGA.
Yes.
They just
dominated.
They just continue to roll down the hill. But what I meant to say about the Jazz in that case is, look, we know where the Jazz are, and if you're upset and frustrated with the way things went, Will Hardy should be. And as a fan, you can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, losing sucks. As Carl says, losing
suck.
Yeah. But this is a team that is in a process of trying to get where the Thunder are, and right now they're on the inverse of that. What are they? Their record now is,
8-15, I think.
Let me get an updated.
I want to say they're third. I want to say they're third bottom
right
of the West.
In front of me, but I have it now. They
Fourth.
finally moved below the Dallas Mavericks, who are now 9-16. The Jazz are 8-15 on the season, and I think that they're going to get closer to the bottom than the top here coming up. And so that's where the Jazz are at. And so there's going to be nights like last night where they get blown out by a team. It's an opportunity for Taylor Hendricks and Walt Clayton Jr. to go out there and get really quality minutes. That's going to help their development because this franchise needs those guys to be good moving forward. You want to hit on those draft picks, especially first-round draft picks. And so last night was a positive in that sense because you saw something from two guys leading the Jazz in scoring, by the way, on a night when everybody else was. Larry wasn't playing and Keontae wasn't himself. those two went out there and had a confidence-building night.
Yeah.
It didn't pay off last night, but it's going to pay off in the future.
I think the frustration of Will Hardy, that, like I said, I love how somebody's like, TMZ captured NBA coach cussing at his players who weren't playing worth the darn. By the way,
you could do that every night.
And not only that, they were down 30 against the Knicks most of the time. They were down 30 against the Knicks. They come home, and then they're down 30 the entire time against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
After playing a great game in Brooklyn.
Right. And then you look and you go, okay, what is going on here? And,
he's trying to get this team consistent. And he's good. He's right for calling out the effort because that's what was missing. The effort is a little bit of a roller coaster. And I think that the Jazz are trying to figure out what players in this roster want to give 100% effort and which ones aren't. And some that aren't probably are going to be on a different team by the trade deadline, to be quite honest. And you know what? With their roster where that's at, they got to figure that out.
It's crazy to think that those last two games, those are gut punches.
Yeah.
Those are the games I think people thought they were going to see most of the time this year.
But you don't want to see those games.
No,
that's
you
not.
Can't.
That was last year's Jazz.
You got to have some fight.
So
man.
the last two games, we've seen last year's Jazz, and that's why Will Hardy was getting into him last night. And it's like, this is common.
Hey.
But since it was caught on camera and we can talk about it, like he's trying to get these guys to play hard.
Do you think Lowry was really sick? Are we doing some of the load management?
I have no idea.
I'm just putting it out.
Hey, we have to hear.
They got
in
fined.
all fairness,
they got fined.
The NBA deserves this. We have to think otherwise all the time because we don't believe it. Right? The NBA's created this.
Yeah.
It's not our fault.
It's crazy. So the rest of the way, this Jazz team, I'm excited about what they can do. Every night I like to watch Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George, and those guys are good for 50 points a game on a lot of these nights. They've been phenomenal, and I think that being able to have those guys out on the floor, not having Lauri Markkanen in, that's a huge piece that's missing. Trying to ask Kyle Filipowski to that's a guy who needs to learn how to play defense. He needs to play big boy defense in the NBA. There's no that if you ask people, I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? They go, what's the hardest thing, the transition from college to the pros? It's like, every play, everyone's playing their butts off. Every play.
Yeah. Watch that Thunder team last night.
Defense is insane.
Chet Holmgren didn't take the night off.
They play defense at a crazy level. Yes. And then the other thing is shooting. Like
Brandon Carlson definitely did. That was a chance for him to go out there and shine, and he did.
You watch college basketball, and guys can't shoot and they can't defend. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, I mean it's such a requirement in the NBA. And so Flip has got to figure some things out. But again, he's second year or first year in?
Second year.
Second year in. Well, I get confused which years I'm on here. I'm not bummed by any of it. I just hope that they don't lose by 30 going forward. Hey, by the way, Win Ticket Wednesday coming up this Wednesday. We're going to be giving away some. Oh my goodness, are you ready for this, JJ? Oh gosh. Before you can buy tickets, we are giving away on a Win Ticket Wednesday, Toto, Christopher Cross, and the Romantics. Come on. Our dreams of
Yacht Rock
dreams have come true, my guy. We waited so long.
My gosh.
Tickets are on sale on Friday, but we're going to be giving those away as we do every Wednesday on a Win Ticket Wednesday.
Come sail away.
So this is going to be that's a lot of fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We're at John Watson Chevrolet here in Ogden. It's a beautiful dealership. Come in and see some classic cars tonight. It's playing host to the Player of the Week honors for the Northern Utah prep players this season who were awarded, and we'll be able to chat with some of those guys later. So stay here with us. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. We are here at the John Watson Chevrolet here in Ogden. You've seen this dealership. You probably bought something from this dealership because it's the number one rated Chevrolet dealer in all the state of Utah, and with good reason. And tonight it plays host, as they've done for the past 21 seasons, the Player of the Week honors for Northern Utah for the prep players and for the football players this season. And it's just going to be It's gotten bigger every year. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to get to our weekend warriors, though, right off the bat here, and then we're going to get to Cam Watson, who's joining us here in just one moment. Now, JJ, this one was the one right after the Big Ten championship game. After Indiana won the Big Ten for the first time since 1945. Is that what it was?
Outright, correct.
Outright, 1945. And when you put the stats up next to each other, Ohio State, that was going to be their 40th Big Ten title. This is Indiana's third. They just won their third. And this is what Heisman hopeful, Hayes Mendoza said after the game. It was a beautiful thing.
The Big Ten champs, how does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go!
You should go to BYU.
No, I would expect – I know flipping. Flipping was clutch, by the way.
That's a BYU word.
The flipping was clutch in the live interview in the postgame. Huge.
His mom and dad will be proud.
Oh, no. And on top of it, I was waiting to hear the old Howard Dean. Isn't it Howard Dean? What was that? Yeah! You were going to take it to Indiana. Oh, my goodness. Texas Tech had quite a weekend blowing out BYU for their Big 12 title. Their defense is phenomenal.
3rd down and 4. Bachmeier with time. Oh, what an interception by Roberts! Point blank, stabbed it. Ben Roberts. Just the 5th interception thrown by Bachmeier this season, and Ben Roberts comes up big.
Threw 3 picks, right? 2, 3 fumbles.
Yep.
It was all there. BYU -7 in the turnover ratio in those 2 games against Texas Tech. Can't do that if you're going to want to win. And then I'm throwing some love to our producer, Alex Napolis. He's a big Los Angeles Rams fan, and frankly, I'm a little bit on Stafford for MVP. I'm a little bit on the Stafford for MVP train. I mean, he is having a phenomenal year.
Yes, he is.
And he's kind of doing it weirdly quietly, right? Like, because the Patriots are getting a lot of attention. You know, these teams that aren't expected to.
Campaigns building steam.
I know,
but you can't ignore what the Rams.
I know, but here's what the Rams did when they blew the doors off of the Cardinals yesterday.
Here's another shotgun snap. Stafford wings one, middle, leaping catch at the 5. Puka breaks a tackle. He carries Will Johnson into the end zone. 28 yards, touchdown Rams. Stafford finds Puka going into the halftime locker room.
Found him twice, by the way, 167 yards on the day with just 6 catches. That guy is phenomenal, and Stafford had a huge day again. They had like 250 yards on the ground. Blake Corum had a phenomenal game, and then they had like 300 yards through the air. Something like, I mean, Stafford's having a year, man. That Rams team's going to be tough to beat. All right, we'll take a break here. We'll come back. We have more to go around the corner. Let's take an in-depth look at the actual college football playoff bracket. There's stuff it's not going to change, so we're going to bring it up. We're going to look at some of these early games. Could there be some surprises, some Cinderella stories in there? Stay right here with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You always got to let the Belle Biv DeVoe burn a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
hear some of it. Okay?
Timeless.
This truck is about from that time frame. Belle Biv DeVoe, kind of a late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yep. That fits.
I'm telling you.
Come down and see it at John Watson's Chevrolet. It's beautiful.
We're hanging out. The beautiful
and
classic
the Chevy
cars.
Camaros from the 1960s.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Got a Z28 right here.
They set it up really awesome for these kids tonight who are going to be honored as the John Watson Chevrolet Players of the Week. And for Northern Utah, it's going to be awesome. And KSL Sports, we lean into this thing, man. We love being able to honor these kids every week during the season. Jake Hatz does a phenomenal job busting his butt, making sure he's got his finger on the pulse of how great these prep athletes are. And
you combine the force of all our KSL Sports properties, KSL Sports Rewind, what Jake does with this, and what we do with Game Night Live. Nobody covers high school sports better. Nobody better.
So let's kick off the program here, JJ. I'm staring at the not only are these beautiful cars here, I've also got the full-on bracket, the college football playoff bracket. Let's get into how this thing actually could go and the breakdowns of these teams who did make it into the college football playoff. Let's jump in here with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
College football playoff. We've got our bracket. We've seen it. You've been able to go over it. You've been able to critique it maybe. And these college football playoffs are. This is only the second year of the 12-team playoff, and it already is unacceptable. Because I heard Hant say something earlier, and it's something I totally 100% agree with, which is, you can argue about the Miami, Notre Dame, BYU, but what are we doing with Tulane and James Madison getting in? They did the rules. I get it. I'm just saying, why are we doing this? Because it's not just that those teams. I know I want to give teams shots.
Who's we? Do you know who to blame? The ACC. And why Miami got in, and why Notre Dame was even considered when you know how bad the ACC was this year. The ACC was so bad this year that the best they could do for a champion was 8-5 Duke.
Oh, yeah.
That's your champion.
Yeah.
The people's champion, the Duke Blue Devils at 8-5. That's the best team in your conference.
I love how we joked about it happening. Why on earth
this almost happened last year.
I know,
remember?
But why on earth would I believe that UVA was a guaranteed win against Duke? It's just it's not. And by the way, we were talking about teams and when they've won championships and when they haven't. Duke has existed. They've played football since 1899 and they've never won one conference championship.
That's insane.
I mean,
the drought is over.
Hey, no, it wasn't. No. It was a team they played, Virginia.
Oh,
Virginia. So they're still locked out.
Yeah, the Who's have never been great at football either.
126 years of Virginia football has not gotten
the ACC was so bad this year that their champion was ranked lower than James Madison in the college football playoff.
And I know that actually is the only thing that matters, because when they made the rules, they're trying to figure out how to make this thing. I don't know, but if the word equitable gets brought up, equity is not being equal and on an equal, like, hey, here's how you made it and here's how we made it. That is not what happened here. And by the way, you're not seeing teams that are evenly matched with the teams that are in the college football playoff. James Madison going up to Oregon, I think is really
must-see TV.
It's really sad because of who could have been playing up at Oregon. BYU fans could say, yeah, maybe that's them. But I mean, even Notre Dame having to go up to Autzen Stadium, like, Notre Dame is a way better football team than Tulane and JMU,
and would do far better.
Okay,
and
so
better theater.
Okay,
better TV.
So then, what are we doing? And I'm not trying to poo-poo the G5s out there, but I do wonder.
You've got to. I think we need to go 16. I think that solves the problem. Again,
I think you got to do more.
This is the ACC's fault for sucking this year. B,
it's true.
The whole point of this was inclusion from the very get-go, is to give everybody in the country a path. It just so happened that the ACC allowed the Sun Belt to be better than them this year. The Sun Belt champion is better than the ACC champion. Let that sink in.
Yeah, I get
it. And the ACC wants to call itself a Power 4 conference. Well, and a team from the ACC got in ahead of Notre Dame and BYU.
Right, and they're legitimately.
And Notre Dame's basically playing an ACC schedule, which is why they were 10-2.
Yeah, they were the best team in the ACC. Miami, I think we all know that.
Yes,
but they didn't make the conference championship game. And I get it. You got to do the thing to be able to get in. But when you talk about the snubs that are out there, I think that the college football playoff bracket kind of shows you that. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird to have James Madison and Tulane playing in this thing when we were fighting over some of the biggest brands in all of college football getting into this thing. You just have these other teams who are just automatic and they get right in, and that they did exactly what they were asked to do. But I do think that is going to get revisited when they do the 16-team playoff. Like, how on earth can we avoid getting way more G5 teams in that you don't want to get in?
I think it will be addressed. You have to have a G5. But you're right. I don't think it was ever designed for 2. And this was actually not a great year for the G5s.
No. The Mountain West was not good this year.
It wasn't.
Here locally, we were like,
it was mediocre for a year. I mean, Boise State wasn't their normal selves. And that league obviously is going to go through a big change. And now the Pac-12 is going to have a look. We'll see what that's like. Tulane was 10-2. I don't think anybody is like, oh, wow, I can't wait to see Tulane against one of the big shots. They played Ole Miss and lost, right?
Yeah, Tulane and North Carolina, and
we've already seen Tulane and Ole Miss, right?
I know, and that's a tough thing because they're going to have to play one another.
This is not a year. This is not the year where even one G5 is worthy of being in the playoff, let alone two, and it sucks because it's at the expense of some really good
Shame
teams.
on all of you other guys who couldn't win your dadgum football games. So James Madison going up to Autzen. Upset alert?
No.
For you? Okay.
No chance.
Speaking of rematches, the 8-9 game is Alabama traveling to Norman, Oklahoma, where they played. No, I guess they were in Tuscaloosa, right?
Trying to remember.
No, I think no. Well, either way, they played them 3 weeks ago, and they beat them.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of the three.
No, they
losses.
went into Tuscaloosa and won.
It was in Tuscaloosa. Hey, that's a pretty good win for them. So they're going to host Alabama in Norman, and then Ole Miss and Tulane is another rematch from earlier this season. Your 11-6 game.
What are we doing?
I don't know, and that it makes me a little bit frustrated. So Tulane taking on Ole Miss. Jake Retzlaff and company. Can they go in? I mean, Ole Miss. If there's going to be an upset alert, you kind of put it on Ole Miss because they might be a dadgum mess considering that their entire staff got blown up and it's weird, and they're having the offensive coordinator come back to call the games like as a temporary fix, and Lane Kiffin's being accused of all sorts of things in LSU. So I'm wondering if you should look at that and go, I don't know, take the points.
Is that the one team that's ripe for an upset?
Would it be the most Jake Retzlaff thing ever? Him running off the field?
Here's the thing. Here's the truth.
It's wild.
What was the score of the first game?
It was a blowout. I think it was like like a 3 or 4 touchdown.
45-10.
Okay.
Trinidad Chambliss had a great game. He played in that game, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was their leading rusher.
45-10, holy cow.
Retzlaff went 5 of 17 in that game.
Yeah, he's pretty good. 56 yards passing, not bad.
So, and this is my point, this is just not the year for the G5s to make a splash in the playoff. Ole Miss is going to cream them. Everything you said is true. I don't know how this Ole Miss team's going to respond to all the drama, the Lane Kiffin stuff, but
from a talent perspective, it just
they're going to overwhelm Tulane,
so
just like they did earlier. We've already seen this movie before.
Yeah. Well, let's pretend just for a moment.
Can we pretend that Ole Miss was playing BYU?
Well, yeah, no,
that would be more fun.
I'm not kidding. Think about like Utah sneaking in, okay, as the 12th seed.
Yeah.
They can make the argument they should be there because they just kept dropping even though they kept winning. they were up to 12 or 13, right? And
they weren't winning enough.
They weren't winning by
far enough.
But let's just say, for sake of argument, Oregon hosting Utah. Like, that's tasty. You know why?
That's got a lot of history to it and a lot of flavor. I think a lot of people around the country would be interested in that.
Yeah, and guess what? Look at Tulane and Ole Miss. Actually was at that game in Oxford back when Kyle Van Noy took that thing over. What did they win? 16 to
Those are their first game as an independent. Yeah.
17-16? They go down there to Oxford. Quite an experience. Awesome. Tons of fun.
Hotty toddy.
But could BYU beat Ole Miss?
Yes. 100%.
Could Utah beat Oregon?
Yes.
They could show up, right?
They
could absolutely.
Oh, well, I mean, the defense we saw the last couple of weeks makes me pause, but the offense is good enough.
Do they have a better shot of beating Ole Miss, BYU than Tulane?
100%.
Does Utah have a better chance than JMU? All respect to the Dukes.
100%.
But you see what I'm saying? See, that's when you look at it and you go, oh, well, if you look at it from that perspective, the system's broken because the best teams aren't playing in this thing, right?
Right.
And teams who you look at and you go, they might deserve to be in there. So, first of all, the Indiana being pushed up to number 1 is wild to look at. Like, if you were to put this bracket up at the beginning of the year, this would have looked like a fever dream that my kid would have put together. I think who's the purple team? I'll put them in.
I love the top 4. The top 4 is fun.
Top 4. This is as good a football as we've seen. You know what I mean? Like, those guys are playing at an elite level.
I hate to say it, but this would be a really good year for a 14 playoff.
Oh, yeah.
All honesty.
If we could have just.
If I'm being really,
you know
really
what?
honest,
it would have saved a lot of tears over the weekend.
Isn't there a big separation between 4 and 5?
Oh, for sure. Yes, that's a great point, JJ, because I think Texas Tech is markedly better than Oregon.
Indiana went in and handled Oregon at Autzen.
Just think about the discrepancy of Georgia versus Tulane,
right?
Or Indiana or Texas Tech playing JMU. or Ohio State meeting up with Tulane. You know what I mean? Like that, it's an insane thought to have these teams lining up. So you're exactly right.
What's Ohio State going to do to Miami? What would they do to Miami?
That's interesting. I can't imagine Miami beating Texas A&M, but just because the universe is this way, you're going to see the teams that we bicker about that shouldn't be in, they're going to win their first game. I think Miami could beat Texas A&M. Why not? And Alabama could definitely beat Oklahoma. You know why? Because what did Ty Simpson say? We know we are the best offense in the country. I couldn't say it with a straight face. After the game, he said it to the just absolutely.
We've already seen Alabama, Oklahoma. Why are we seeing this again?
Okay, but what I'm saying is
committee, man.
You're going to see one of the teams that we argued that they shouldn't have been anywhere near the playoff. They're going to win their first round game. Alabama or Miami, one of those teams is going to win. And we're going to go, and then they're going to be like, told you, we should have been in, and it's going to be annoying. It's going to be the worst. It'll be another like rehashing and pulling the scab off and having to figure that thing out.
Miami got a gift. Texas A&M is probably the most phony team in the top 10.
And I think there's also – isn't it funny that after they lost that game against Texas, nobody is even thinking about those guys because they didn't go to the SEC
Well, why didn't they get hammered? Why didn't they get more – I mean, they got dropped a little bit from 3 to 7.
7, yeah.
By the way, they're pre-Big 12 championship game. BYU and Texas A&M's resume look awful similar.
Yeah, real close to one another. Look at that top 4. Any chance that the bye week that they get ends up being them kind of slumbering a little bit and then they come out slow and don't win a game in the second round?
I don't see an Ohio State or a Penn State or a Notre Dame in that first round group.
I actually think it's
I don't see teams that good in that first round group. I think the top 4 are really, really solid. And I don't see a team in the first round that's capable of going to a bowl game and beating those guys.
I think it was actually better for Ohio State's national championship repeat.
Oh, I agree.
For them losing against Indiana. Because a rematch is pending, right? That's what we're looking at in the bracket. You're looking at the possibility of Indiana winning their 2 games and getting to the national championship to rematch against Ohio State. Now, that's a rematch I'm okay to watch. You know why? Because it was a freaking bloodbath the other night.
Right.
Punching each other in the face and getting it going, man. I loved how intense that game was.
It was a low-scoring game, but a good football game.
No, you know what? It felt just old school. Yeah. We've seen Ohio State have games like that. You've seen them have.
You're going to have championship games like that.
And it's crazy to me to see Indiana being physical. Like that was just never their signature.
Matching up with that defense.
Their offense and defensive lines are friggin' tough.
That Ohio State defense is so good, and Indiana held their own.
Yeah, and Mendoza put the ball on the friggin' money. So many times
probably
that game.
Won himself a trophy.
Do you think that happened?
Probably won himself a trophy on Saturday.
Did you have to get your vote in today?
Oh, the deadline was today. I finished voting on Sunday.
Okay, so you can't share your vote.
Cannot say a word until after Sunday.
And that's
Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday we're going to get the reveal. And you only get 3 votes, right? You
vote for your top 3 in order, first, second, and third, and that's how they tabulate it.
Okay.
I will share my Heisman ballot a week from today.
Love it. I just think it's fascinating to see these this Heisman season's crazy. Again, part of the fever dream. And then Mendoza's going to win the Heisman. You remember the old Cal transfer? Yeah, he's going to win the Heisman. The guy who committed to Harvard first and then ended up going to Cal.
Pretty crazy
and
story,
then transferring
right?
from Cal to Indiana. Yeah, he's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner.
Pretty improbable.
That's crazy.
Well, and there's another candidate is somebody who was playing at New Mexico Military Institute.
There's always somebody.
Before he ended up at New Mexico State, right? The Diego Pavia story is also pretty wild.
You know what?
And you
Vanderbilt
gotta be honest. Like, there's some pretty crazy, wild college football stories right now. How about Trinidad Chambliss?
Yeah,
who was a Division II quarterback now.
Yep.
Now in the playoff.
That's a very Cam Ward type of a vibe. You know, where he's 0 stars,
100%.
Goes to immaculate word, and then suddenly blows up the entire world. It's crazy. So, anyway, part of the issue that we've seen with all of this is we've seen a lot of the brackets that are that people are kind of putting together, and they're trying to find a path for upsets. And this one doesn't really lend to a lot of upsets.
Doesn't feel like last year, right?
Yeah.
And I think what happened, remember last year what happened was the champions got put in the top 4. And it was Arizona State and Boise State and Oregon. And the best teams were actually in that first-round group because they didn't play – Notre Dame didn't play in a conference championship game last year. Neither did Ohio State. And it worked out the way it did. It's just a different bracket this year. It's a different bracket. And that's fine. I think it's top-heavy. I think the top 4 are going to be tough to beat. But what it could end up being is an outstanding semifinal and a national championship game for the ages if it works out. And I think don't be surprised if Texas Tech's in that championship game.
I just want to be.
That team is really good. I don't know how a team beats them. Arizona State did it, but there were weird circumstances behind that game. What team in that field right now has the ability to throw downfield, run the ball effectively, and win in the trenches? Who is it? Is it? I mean, other than Ohio State, I believe Ohio State can do it, and we saw maybe Indiana can do it.
Right.
Is Georgia? I mean, you think the talent's there, but Georgia's been, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like Georgia's been overwhelming this year. Just ask Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech had them. Georgia Tech played them better than Alabama did the second time
for
around.
Sure. Yeah.
Georgia's had some weird games this year.
Later, we're going to talk about the bowl matchups here locally with the teams getting their invites officially. And none of the programs rejected their invitation. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, classy. How many Big 12 teams said no thanks?
2. Iowa State, Kansas State.
And Baylor had a chance to go play in the Birmingham Bowl as a 5-7 team.
Oh, did they say no?
As well, they said
well, but yeah, the 5-7 thing, like that. To me, when a team opts out of that, like, because I don't think they're not going to get fined $500,000.
No, the other
teams are going to get fined $500,000. When you're a 5-7 team and you get this like little back door into a crap bowl, I mean,
we now have winning teams opting out of bowl games. Bowl games are on live support. I'm telling you. This is a growing trend.
It is hard. It is hard to try to figure out which ones matter, and it really just feels like the college football playoff. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go right here from the John Watson Chevrolet here in Ogden. Stay here, 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. That music, of course, means we're getting into our that portion of the show where we get to jump in on the locals in the NFL and the weeks that they had, and they had big ones. A lot of locals. I'm watching a lot of guys scoring points, catching balls, making big defensive plays, more than we've ever seen, I think, in a long, long time for those locals. But
it was a great Sunday for locals in the NFL.
Yeah, and
I think I counted 7 locals were part of a touchdown, whether they were the quarterback, running back, or the kickoff returner, or the receiver. It was a banner day.
Huge day. Let's talk about it right now. Before we do, though, you can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week program. All you have to do, go to KSLSports.com/contests. Nominate that person who's an awesome youth sports volunteer in your neighborhood, and then we help celebrate those efforts by giving them a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals, both of which are great sponsors of the Hercules Hero of the Week program. All right, let's start first. Listen, I'll start with my Seahawks.
Yeah, that's good.
How about Rashid Shaheed? Like, when that guy turns it on, there's not a soul. I don't know if there's a soul on the planet who could catch that guy.
I told you when the Seahawks acquired him, it's like, oh, that's a nice trade.
Yeah, and look, you want to use him as a wideout, but they have one of the best wideout. They have a first-team All-Pro guy this year in Smith Najigba.
And he had a good game, 4 catches, 67 yards.
And I'm telling you, they're going to be feeding Smith Najigba like the rest of the year because they want him. They want to prop him up, and I'm telling you, he's same thing. Those two guys, when they touch the ball, there's not a lot of people that could catch those two dudes out there in the football field. So shout out to my Seahawks, who are now 10-3 on the season. I mean, listen, shout out to Sam Darnold, who like reinvented himself.
Great story.
To do it in 2 different cities in 2 separate years.
You think the Vikings have regret?
Oh, 1,000%. J.J. McCarthy is absolute garbage.
He had a good game yesterday, but
no, he
won.
didn't. They had 0. They won. They beat the Commanders, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was 26-0?
McCarthy had a good game yesterday, 3 touchdowns.
I'll allow it. But has one of the worst QBRs of any living quarterback in the history of the NFL.
The Vikings are going to miss the playoffs this year because they let Sam Darnold walk. It's a fact.
It is, yeah. And a tough division, obviously. Dalton Kincaid, he caught a touchdown.
Yeah, back from injury, missed almost a month with the hamstring injury, and then first game back gets a nice touchdown catch, 4 catches, 41 yards. And Jackson Haas out of Highland High School.
A kid lived in my old neighborhood.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I tell the kids all the time.
At Yale, and then went to Georgia Tech, and now he's in the league.
Look what's going on here. That guy played at Highland High School. This guy went to the University of Utah. Like, point them all out.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to do these days. It seems like every team's got
doing Snow Angels with Josh Allen in a big game. Pretty cool.
How did Devin Lloyd do? We're checking on Devin Lloyd, see if he's having a decent
interception of the year. I think it's tied for 3rd in the NFL. Isn't that crazy? He's having a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah, I think
he got hurt.
Might have an All-Pro year.
The problem is he got hurt.
Yeah.
And missed a couple games, which might hurt his cause, but when he's been healthy, he's played at a Pro Bowl level this year. He's definitely going to get paid.
Well, he'll get the Pro Bowl nod because that's fine. All-Pro is what I'm looking for, and I think he could be a second-team All-Pro guy. Like you're talking about him.
Good.
He is one of the top 5 linebackers in the league, right? Like
8
especially
tackles,
right now.
2 quarterback hits, and an interception, and the Jags win. The Jags are in first place.
And the Colts have fallen off the planet, and poor friggin' Daniel Jones, who we love talking about because he's a great story too, torn Achilles again. Dude,
3 losses in a row, I think.
3 losses in a row, and their playoff hopes are looking like the Chiefs.
They're on life support.
Hey, speaking of the Chiefs.
Ooh.
No, we'll get to that.
We got to save that for the next segment.
We should, because I want Lloyd to be around when I tell him about what getting keyed it looks like in the in week 15 of the NFL, because it was pretty hilarious.
Rusty looked like a sad puppy today in there when we looked in there.
He's like you got keyed. The energy not there. Energy not there. Puka Nacua, awesome day for him. Another couple touchdowns, 167 yards. He missed how many games? 2 or 3?
Yeah.
And he's averaging 100 yards receiving this year.
Still almost 1,300 yards receiving.
Yes, after missing those 2 games.
Pretty insane.
Awesome thing for him. And then Jordan Love, that guy, Toyota-thon comes around and he shows up.
Toyota-thon is real.
I'm believing it now. I'm like, seriously.
How can you not?
He
every year.
Tom Brady.
Toyota-thon begins, and all of a sudden Jordan Love's an MVP candidate.
So Tom Brady called that game. Tom Brady's like, what a throw.
Yeah.
If Tom Brady says what a throw.
Yeah, that's a compliment.
Let's grab that audio and play it as they lower your casket into the ground. You know what I mean? Like when your life is over, because that is as cool as it gets, man. It's just wild. Did you see the Zach Ertz play where he tore his ACL?
Yeah, I was watching it, and Mariota had to come off the bench cold. Jaden Daniels got hurt again.
I know, it's just freaking
And
terrible.
I watched that throw, and I've seen this story before. A quarterback throws high over the middle.
Hang a guy out to dry, but you don't. But listen,
I
those
feel
DBs,
for Mariota. He did not intend for that to happen, but that's what happened. You go
bad
up
look.
to try to make a play, and where do the DBs try to tackle a tight end?
Right at the knee.
You throw high to a tight end, and it's going to happen.
It looked disgusting. Torn ACL out the rest of the year. There you go. So
hate to see it.
It's a bummer, man. And
how about Shedeur Sanders?
What did he have? 365 on the day?
He didn't win the
3
game,
touchdowns?
but yeah, he had 4 touchdowns, 1 on the ground.
I mean, that team is a mess.
If you started Shedeur in fantasy football yesterday, you probably won.
How many people did that? Brant, did you start Shadeur's not your quarterback?
You should have.
Yeah, that's a good pick. You just made friends with JJ right there.
Yeah.
That'll get you in. Hey, how about your Broncos 11-2?
How about
Them and
that?
the Patriots at the top of the dadgum
10
AFC.
straight wins, baby.
10 wins in a row. There's
Didn't
almost
cover
as good
the
as
spread, though. We'll get to that in the next segment.
10 wins in a row, that's Notre Dame territory. You guys might be good enough. Might be good enough. All right? Let the Broncos into the playoffs. They deserve it. Hey, BYU's 11-2. Can they get into the AFC playoffs?
At this point?
No.
Why not?
All right. Any other ones you want to add in the world of the NFL? I'm trying to think
let's give Jalen Moore a shout out. He had a touchdown on a screen pass from Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers look like they're going to win the AFC North. After watching them play like hot garbage last week.
After people were assigning
steaming hot garbage.
I know. After everybody was assigning Mike Tomlin's
they were seriously trying to run Mike Tomlin out of town
to the Penn State job.
He's Mike freaking Tomlin. He's the Godfather.
I think he'd be great at Penn State. You're like, really? The guy has 20 winning seasons in a row.
Look at all the clown coaches in the NFL. And you want to run Mike Tomlin out of town?
Come on.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
It is crazy. So the Chiefs, by the way, the dynasty's on life support, despite the fact that Chris Collinsworth. I mean, I'm listening to that game last night.
Here's a guy.
Now here's a guy because so the Texans are going down and driving down and about to score a touchdown, and they show Mahomes on the sideline because he just thrown a pick. That's what they do. They go, hey, Travis Kelce, nice drop. I mean, they stayed on him for, I think, 12 minutes straight at the end of the game. Kelce was there.
That was a rough look for Travis Kelce.
And he's 1,000-yard stare, and he doesn't know a camera's on him, but he's doing the pretend like he's catching the ball. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was weird. He was like miming, like, I was like, dude, this guy's seen some stuff, man.
Yeah.
But they go to the sideline. They show Mahomes, and he's just watching his as the Texans are about to go down and score again, and they show him, and he goes, and there's Patrick Mahomes. And we're like, well, they're showing him because he threw an interception. One of the best to ever do it. He's probably thinking, all right, it's going to be one of those nights, huh? I got a few of those throws in me left. And I was like, everyone – and social media kills Chris Collinsworth every game.
Yeah.
But last night felt like a lot. It was almost like – and then Tirico had to counter it. It was like, yeah, but it's 9 penalties to 2 in favor of the Chiefs. So you could say the refs are having a rough night and it's not helping the Chiefs out, but they had 2 penalties and the Texans have 9. So he was like trying to bail them. It was super weird, and it's crazy to watch those games with him calling it because he does love Patrick Mahomes so much. So does Rusty Keys. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. We've got a Sucks to Be You. You can hear from Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Bavacqua. It's nice enough for Pete to drop in and send a line on how things are going in that Notre Dame.
He said some things today.
I can't wait.
He might regret.
Let's listen to it next right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Basking in the sports misfortune of others to help make you feel just a little bit better about yourself. As JJ and Alex present.
Yes, we got beat. We got beat badly.
It sucks to be you.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to chat with either Cam Watson or Corey Watson, one of the Watsons here at John Watson Chevrolet in just a couple of minutes. Before we do, yes, you know the music. Sucks to be you. Hey, every day, by the way. No, it doesn't suck to be you, JJ. It doesn't suck to be Brant.
I mean, sometimes it sucks to be me.
Well, Brant this weekend, he got towed.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
He got towed. So it sucked.
I'm sorry.
You know what? Let's give an official. It sucked to be Brant when he got towed. Okay.
Womp womp.
He made it. He made the list this week. But I think he has a lot less to beef about.
At least you're not Notre Dame.
Than the Notre Dame athletic director Pete Bavacqua, who I think is that an aftershave, Bavacqua?
No, that's the spray.
Okay.
The breath spray,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
What is that called?
I think my dad used to get
Bavacqua?
No, it's Banaka.
Banaka. Okay, I got confused.
But Aquavelva was the blue stuff that my grandpa
Are you
would
an
wear.
Aquavelva man?
Bavacqua.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Pete Bavacqua Velva.
Do you want to be an Aquavelva man these days?
There's no way they still make it. There's no way. Hey, Alex Annapolis, give us a confirmation whether or not they still make Aquavelva or not. All right. Pete Bavacqua, the athletic director for Notre Dame, after being snubbed by the playoff committee, moving down the order and not being allowed into the club. And, man, he wanted everybody to hear it today.
Well, I would tell you, I mean, again, I have tremendous respect for Miami. You know, great team, great school. Their athletic director, Dan Radakovich, is a good friend. And all the teams in the ACC, great, wonderful universities. We have no gripes about any of the schools in the ACC. But we were mystified by the actions of the conference to attack, their biggest really business partner in football and a member of their conference in 24 of our other sports. And I would tell you, Dan, I wouldn't be honest with you if I didn't say that they have certainly done permanent damage to the relationship between the conference and Notre Dame. Just we didn't appreciate the fact that we were singled out repeatedly and compared to Miami. Not by Miami. Miami has every right to do that. But it raised a lot of eyebrows here that the conference was taking shots at us. And, that's just not something we chose to do. We wouldn't choose to do that in the future, and people might disagree with us, but that's just not something that we'd be comfortable with. And again, we have no problem with any of these teams. These are all great teams. You look at those teams, Miami, like I said, great season. They beat us. You think about Alabama, nobody's had more success in college football over the last decade than Alabama. But Dan, you follow this sport so closely. Everybody was saying that we were one of a handful of teams that could win this whole thing. Yeah. And now we have 0% chance. Even Nick Saban, nobody knows more about college football maybe in the history of the world than Nick Saban. And he said it yesterday, like, how is Notre Dame not in this? I mean, everybody is just kind of confused and perplexed, and we don't have good answers for the kids on our team, for our student athletes.
Did you notice he didn't mention BYU among those teams? He wasn't willing to play BYU in a Pop-Tarts Bowl?
He will never mention BYU because they hate BYU. They do not want to play BYU ever again.
What is
I don't know.
The deal?
I don't know, and maybe some of that stuff. I mean, look, they played in 12 and 13 there at South Bend, and then famously the return trip that Notre Dame had promised got bagged, and instead they said, let's do a neutral site thing. I told you about this. They do the thing where they go, we're not doing road games. We'll do a million home games.
3 true road games every year.
They'll play 2 or 3 road games, and then the rest are neutral site, Shamrock Series, whatever. But Notre Dame is, when they have these actions to not accept the bowl bid, like, that's their prerogative. That's fine. They don't answer to a conference. They don't have to pay a fine to a conference. But don't pretend. I think the reality is that if they played BYU or somebody else, they would always have the excuse of, well, we didn't care about that game. We've seen that before. Because I think they get their butts handed to them. I think if BYU played them, BYU would show up massively. Now, is the talent there from Notre Dame? Absolutely, sure. They're better talent than I think a lot of the teams that BYU face this year. However, it would be a great even match, but Notre Dame doesn't want even match. They don't want an even match.
Jeremiah Love doesn't get to play another game for him.
Yeah, that's a weird decision because they obviously didn't. I wonder what Marcus Freeman thinks about this. Like, I would love to think.
I can't imagine.
I would love to know what he thinks about it.
You think that their coaches and players were united on that front?
These are chancellors, presidents, board members, and the athletic director. It's all administrative.
An organization acting like a spoiled child that didn't get what he wanted, so he ran away.
I bet there's some players who are like, dude, I don't want to play in freaking the Pop-Tarts Bowl because
they had it's a great bowl.
But they had expectations. But that's fine. But
it would have been the highest-rated non-playoff game of the postseason.
By the way, they would get about a $7 million payout. BYU's going to get the Big 12 a $7 million payout for that bowl game. And Notre Dame is like, we don't care. Money doesn't matter to us. Being better than everybody else, in theory, is more important to them. You know what I mean?
But it's almost every year, always in theory. Last year was an exception. They were the second best team in the country.
Yeah.
It's almost always in theory with that group.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's irritating, and I think the rest of the college football world's kind of tired of it.
We'll be back around the corner. We got more to go. Stay with us. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen, thanks for being with us. I thought we just got April Fools. Annapolis, I think this calls for the breaking news sounder, my guy. I mean, my heavens. I don't know if there's been bigger news today in the world of sports, man. Let's
checking the spelling on it is Ian Rappaport, and it is the rap sheet, and it is verified on Twitter. This is true.
Tell me what you got over here from the NFL breaking backup quarterback news desk.
According to Ian Rappaport, NFL writer, the Colts are planning to bring potential future Hall of Fame quarterback Phillip Rivers into their facility Tuesday to work out to see if he may join their practice squad.
Okay.
Rappaport says this is real. Daniel Jones' season is over. Riley Leonard will start, but Rivers may be an option. By the way, Riley Leonard will start, but he has a knee injury as well.
So he's the
they're gonna bring in Phillip Rivers.
When was okay, I know he officially retired in 25, but that's not when he stopped playing. His last game was played in 2020, JJ. He was already old as the hills back then.
Coaching high school football.
I know.
Right? Like, isn't his son playing high school football?
Okay, just between you and I.
He's 44.
Oh, that's terrible because I was thinking he was way older than me, and he's my age. Let me ask you this. How close to 3 bills is he? I mean, this is just between you and I.
Well, he was 6'5", 230.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
In his peak.
And he's got 9 kids. That type of stress.
Wow. Hopefully he's on slcfatloss.com.
But you see,
look, he's got to pass a physical, so I don't know. I haven't seen him lately. He played for the Colts in 2020, as you said, at age 39.
I'd feel comfortable.
Insane.
I'd feel comfortable with him coming in on the practice squad, like in the playoffs. Like, we need help
as a backup,
like as a possible backup. He's in, like, do a little Eric Weddle,
Rivers.
Yeah.
Getting into a game this December.
It's crazy
for the Indianapolis Colts.
All right. Let's we got to get to our guy Cole Bagley, who's back in studio. Of course, we're here at John Watson Chevrolet in Ogden for the Player of the Week honors, KSL Sports, and John Watson Chevrolet, the Player of the Week honors for the Northern Utah side of the prep football. And man, there's going to be some superstars showing up. Man, it's going to be awesome. Cole Bagley on the program here with us. Cole, man, it was I think an 11-1 stretch after the 2 games that they had where they win 7-0 and 4-1, and then they end up in Calgary and the 2-0 loss. I was watching that game, and I know that Vitek had a good game. I thought he was fine between the pipes. You can't play your goalies every night, but at the same time, like, there was zero offense that night. It just seems like all the stuff that was going their way in those prior games wasn't happening in Calgary. So we were hoping they were going to finish 500 on the road. They didn't end up doing it. But what's changed with this team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they found the back of the net. But to be honest, I don't know that anything's necessarily changed. Not to downplay those 2 wins, but, Vancouver's the worst team in the National Hockey League, and the Ducks were playing their 3rd and 4th string goaltenders. Again, there were good things that they did, and you like that there was actually energy. And that's something that we've talked about all season long is, whether this team wins or loses is very much dependent on them choosing to play a specific brand of hockey. Nate Schmidt even said that after the Flames loss. And, I believe that style is just an energetic style, a committed style, a communicative style. So, we'll see how these next few games go. Obviously, it's tough that they're going to be without Logan Cooley, but, I don't know that anything's changed just yet. I think that was, more so a response to, where they found themselves on the road trip. Bill Armstrong, sat the guys down after they lost in San Jose and said, enough's enough. We need to, it's playoffs or bust for us. We need to figure this out. So they responded well. I'm not, super high on that being a season, turning point for them, but we'll see how these next few games at home go.
Yeah, this team has had so many ups and downs and adversity and challenges, and now Cooley out. They said indefinitely. We have no idea. Do you think this is a more long-term thing or a more short-term thing based on what you know about the injury?
It's a tough question. Obviously all of this would be, speculation. I would guess he's out maybe a little longer as opposed to shorter term. If you go back and if you watch especially that aerial view of his injury, his leg was doing all sorts of weird bending, along the post. And, if it was a broken bone, I think it would be obvious and we would know what was going on. To me, again, this is just my own speculation. Having, played the game, and actually I tore my own ACL playing hockey. Not to say that he's torn ACL, but I would guess it's more so a ligament, in his knee. Just with the way that leg bent, it did not look good.
So with that said, I mean, whether it's a week, a month, 2 months, whatever it is, they're going to be out with it. They're going to be without him for a while. How do they compensate for that loss? What do they do? Because that's a massive player to be missing out of your lineup, especially offensively with what he brings.
I mean, everybody else has to step up. I think the positive thing, if you will, is a lot of the guys on the team have been underperforming. Numbers are down pretty much across the board, amongst the top 6. Dylan Gunther, Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, J.J. Peterka, Barrett Hayton, like all of those players have not been playing up to expectations. And so there's at least room for growth. There's room for improvement, which is a positive. And if they can dig deep and they can, all step up, I think they'll be, I think they have an opportunity to be just fine. And then, they've got some young guys that have come up. Daniil Boot has looked really good in the 3 games that he's played. Still searching for that first goal, but I don't think it's going to take him very long just with the, his size, his frame, the game, the style that he plays, how much he, kind of hangs around the net and the shot that he has. I don't think it'll be much longer before he scores. And if he can, get on the board, every couple games, that'll be helpful. But to me, I look at guys like Keller and Gunther and Schmaltz, and, they really need to step up in light of Cooley being out, no matter how long it is. Whether it is, like you said, whether it is a week or 2 or whether it's a month or 2, those guys have got to step up here.
As you talked about these guys coming in, and there's a little bit of a function of, hey, we send guys down and bring a couple other guys up just for that punch in the gut for the whole team to kind of, maybe get a fire under them. And the energy level, it's crazy because people were wondering about the effort. Do you see the same thing when they were talking about, like, hey, this team's not trying hard enough? Like, in my mind, I'm like, I want to know what that indicates, not just wins and losses. Like, what is the thing that people look at and they go, there's not enough effort there?
Yeah, I think a lot of things. If you've listened to some of the post game interviews with the coaches and the players, it's the simple details in where their effort is not being exhausted. They're losing their battles. They're not, winning pucks, in behind the net. If they're dumping and chasing, they're not getting that puck back and reloading and, having sustained offensive zone possessions. They're not putting guys in front of the net. I picked apart their power play last week after, so they played Dallas, Are
they still worse in the league? That's the question.
I think they're either worse. They're either the worst or they're the second worst.
Yeah.
They were 5.7% over the month of November, which is just that is entirely unacceptable. But I compared their power play to Dallas, which they're the best in the league. They're scoring one almost every third power play. Dallas is putting the puck in the back of the net. So it's not exactly fair to compare in terms of performance, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to look at how Utah attacked on the power play as opposed to how Dallas attacked on the power play. And Dallas showed Utah exactly how to do it. They scored 2 power play goals against them last week when Utah was visiting on the road. And how they did that was they got bodies in front of the net. They got bodies to the net. They were rotating players, in their offensive set. They were, pulling defensemen up high and then, forcing forwards to cover down low. And obviously that's going to, create mismatches and whatnot. And that's exactly how Dallas scored 2 goals. Utah doesn't do enough of that. They get into their set and they just sit there. Keller's on the right wing, Gunther's on the left, and they just go back and forth between Sergachev and those 2 players, and it's predictable. And so, that to me is where effort is lacking, is just those small, minute details of winning your battles, being willing to go and play in the dirty areas, and just giving all that you have. I think the only players on this team that have really done that recently are Lawson Krause, Ian Cole, Michael Carcone, and Liam O'Brien. And, Vejmelka started to kind of get into a good groove. But, yeah, for me, that's where that effort is lacking.
All this team's been through, and I'm looking at the standings right now, and, yeah, it's still December. It's still early. But they're right in the mix. They're hanging on there. They're at 31 points with Edmonton and San Jose. They'd be in the wild card spot right now, which is better than they were last year at this time. Overall, big picture, is this team in a good spot right now considering what's ahead with the schedule? Probably lightening up a little bit. It's been pretty road heavy. Despite all the challenges, is this team still in a good place?
Yeah, the silver lining, as hard as we are on them and as much as we can pull things apart, they're in a good spot. They're arguably right where they the front office anticipated they would be. Given the division, there is no way that this team is going to take one of those 3 spots. Colorado is far and away the best team in the National Hockey League. Dallas isn't too far behind, and Minnesota has started to kind of gain some traction. So, for
it's
Utah,
kind of interesting.
Go ahead.
It's kind of interesting. One thing that I was looking at with that, because it's all that 7-game win streak that ruined us, right? Like, yeah. If they got to this record in a different way, we probably would be speaking about this differently. Same 100%. Exact record we would talk about it differently because the 7-game win streak.
It's just been the swings have been so high and so low.
I know.
That you emotionally, I get what fans are going through right now. You emotionally go through those swings, and I think that's what they're experiencing. You weren't finishing with your point, Cole.
Sorry,
I
Cole.
know it's a great observation that a lot of this, you're right, is tied to that 7-game win streak and just the massive highs and the massive lows that this team's been through over the last few months.
Yeah, the journey to this point is what's worrisome. Is the fact that, they ripped off 7 in a row, and then I think they only won 3 of 12, and then it was like 5 of the last 18. That's where you start to worry a little bit, is they were so hot and then just completely cooled off. But like I said, the silver lining, they've got 31 points. They're in the second wildcard spot. With a win tonight, they can surpass Edmonton and jump into that first wildcard spot. Now, of course, Edmonton will have an opportunity to retake it tomorrow, but that's like they're 14-13-3, and I bet if you were to look at the front office, back in September and say, hey, you're going to be 14-13-3, early in December, you're going to be in the second wildcard spot, they'd go, we'll take that. Now, like I said, it's the journey that's a little worrisome, and they've got to get things figured out, because right now it's not necessarily trending in a great direction. Now they are 4-6 over their last 10, as opposed to I think they were like 2-8 over the previous. So this is a fragile time of the year. This is when teams really kind of start to figure out who they are, and playoff hopes either die or continue to live on. So yeah, this is a critical month. And luckily the schedule, does clear up and ease up in January. So, a lot of positives and some opportunity here for them to figure things out.
Kings come into town tonight. Delta Center will be hopefully rocking with a lot of fans who've been excited to get them back after a long road trip. What does this Kings team look like, and what can the Mammoth do here at home back on their own home ice against the Kings tonight?
This is a Kings team that's very good on the road. They're 9-2-4. They've actually struggled, quite a bit at home. But at the same time, it feels like everybody in the National Hockey League is just going through extreme highs and lows. They're 4-3-3 over their last 10, and so I think it's going to be a fairly even battle. These are two teams trying to figure things out. Utah's been very good at home. They're 7-3-1. But then again, like I said, LA has been able to win a lot of road games. So I would expect a highly contested matchup of two teams trying to just gather some points, because LA is only 2 points ahead of Utah right now. Obviously, they're in different divisions, but points are precious at this point in the year, like I was talking about, and I expect we're going to see two teams who are just battling to make sure that they get 2 tonight.
The Avs, by the way, I was just looking at this, Cole, and it's crazy. The Avalanche have 115 goals on the season. The Mammoth are at 90. Like, that's a scoring machine. Like that's who you're up against in this division. Like, really, and the two of the highest scoring teams in the entire NHL are the Avs and the Dallas Stars. Like, these are the teams that they're up against.
Those are the 2 highest.
And the Ducks have 107.
Oh yeah, of course. The Ducks, just like where we thought everybody was going to be, Cole, right? Like the Anaheim Ducks.
You had enough problems. Now the Ducks are good.
Yeah, scoring 100.
The craziest part of that,
already, yeah.
The craziest part of that goal, those goals is, Colorado's goal differential right now is plus 49.
That's insane.
That is 21 more than the next team, who's actually Dallas at plus 28. Ridiculous.
They're beating the brakes off these teams.
If Colorado doesn't win the Cup, it is the biggest choke job in the history of
They
sports.
have just 2 regulation losses.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So
wow. It's almost 2026.
Darn it. That's who you're up against in this division. No problem. No sweat. Yeah, it'll be fine. Cole, puck drops at 7 tonight, 6 o'clock pregame on the KSL Sports Zone, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it and all the work you do. Love reading the hat trick every time it comes out. I'm like, it's my first notification that comes to the phone after the game, and I'm like, I got to see what Cole said about this.
Well, make sure you guys are here next time I'm in studio. I show up, and you guys aren't even here to hang out. So I'm sitting in JJ's chair.
Are you just spinning around?
Yep, just
spinning in circles?
Yep.
All right. Cole, we appreciate it, man. Thanks. Have a great evening.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. We'll take a break. We are at John Watson Chevrolet right here in Ogden. The Player of the Week honor is going to be handed out tonight. It's bigger than it's ever been. The pizza is on the way. It's going to be phenomenal. You guys are going to love it. And so we've got tons going on. Stay here with us, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Stenlund wins this one back. Mammoth shoot it at the empty net and score. John Marino splits the uprights, and it's 4-1. John Marino retreating into his own zone as Mikhail Sergachev gets to a puck behind his own net. Wraparound try in front, and they score! Calgary lights the lamp 16 seconds in. He can't quite get a shot at the empty net, but Zary hits it. And it's been a night of frustrations for the Utah Mammoth. Connor Zary hits the empty net with 2:14 to go in the third.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Is that the sound of a puck hitting a post? Is that what that sound is? It's like pa-ching.
Yeah.
I love it. We just had Cole Bagley on. Anytime Cole comes on and talks about our Utah Mammoth, it's all brought to you by the folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union. Appreciate him coming on and hanging out with us. And yeah, I think there's a lot of nerves right now across the street at Delta Center. I mean, we're up here at the John Watson Chevrolet, but obviously it's nerves right now for this team, and they've got to try to figure some things out and make it happen. A couple reminders. First, Hans and Scotty on Wednesday are going to be at RGS Exteriors. Go check them out there in person, noon to 3 with Hans and Scotty at RGS Exteriors. And also, this is going to be good. This is the first time I've ever done this with Jake in person here.
Yeah.
So Jake Hatch, by the way, joining us on the program. Yak, nice enough to hang out because this is kind of a program near and dear to his heart. And he knows if there's somebody who knows all these players, it's Hatch, and he knows these kids and their stats and you do a great job putting this stuff together, man. That's a lot of work for you, so congrats.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's fun.
It is fun. And, you know, we were just chatting off of the air because every Monday, if you listen to DJ and PK in the morning, every once in a while I'll catch it while I'm out and about, and I'll go, I don't need to ask Hatch what the play of the week is. But the Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers play of the week brought to you by your Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers. And here's what you've got. They give out the play, and then I give out the phone number now, and you tell me what it is, and then you win a prize. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. Any clues that you want to give our illustrious listeners out there?
So we're up here at John Watson Chevrolet for the Northern Utah High School Player of the Week, and these are the best high school players in football that we're honoring tonight. This player that had the play this week is what PK calls the best high school player ever in Utah high school football history.
Wow.
So,
and a play that this person made?
Yesterday, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I could am I eligible?
Sure, why not?
I'm going to call Alex during the break here. Am I calling number 12? Nablus, it's me. Am I 12? Come on. No, I think I know what's going on. I like it. That's a great pick. Before we get to some football here, and we'll talk a little bit, I haven't gotten your thoughts. I always love it because you were down in Texas, yes?
I was in Dallas, yep. AT&T Stadium.
Was it as ugly in person as we thought?
Speaking of the game itself, yes, it was as ugly in person as it. But talk about the facilities. AT&T Stadium's still a gold standard, even though it's almost 20 years old, that facility. It's crazy to think it's that old. I toured it, actually, funny enough, in 2008, Alex, right before it opened. Remember, BYU played the first ever game in there against Oklahoma in 08. Yeah. I was working down there that summer. We went and toured it before it opened. So it's crazy to think that I was there in 2008. I went back for Big 12 Media Days in 2023. It's an incredible facility, but the game itself, yeah, that was not pretty.
What went wrong? I mean, the turnovers were the biggest thing, I think, because that's the thing that made it kind of feel like the pile-on because they gave them short fields and things. But where was the breakdown there of the preparation for this Texas Tech team and wanting to get them back and then falling short, even further short this time around?
Well, quite frankly, it's kind of the same story of what happened in Lubbock. They just couldn't block the front for Texas Tech. The story, I think, it was from CBS Sports. Texas Tech spent more than $7 million on their defensive front. The defensive front line. They're talking to David Bagley, Romello Height, Lee Hunter. They spent more than $7 million getting those guys in place.
A good chunk of it was just David Bailey.
Correct. And the point to be made there is that, according to this report from CBS Sports, if I've got the outlet right, BYU's entire roster, $10 million this past season. So that should show you they invested heavily on that defensive front. And BYU, their front line, and it's nothing against BYU's offensive line because they've done this to everybody they have played, speaking of Texas Tech. But BYU could not block a 4-man rush.
What does $10 to $15 million potentially for NIL money do for Kalani Sitake?
Well, hopefully it means a much better outcome when you go up against the likes of a Texas Tech, because in theory you should go invest that along the front lines, because I don't think Kalani's blind. I think he looks across that field at Texas Tech and says, the makeup of that roster is what we need in Provo, Utah. That's where that money's going to have to be invested, is especially in the trenches. Now, obviously you want to have elite skill talent. You need wide receivers. You need guys like running backs. LJ Martin is obviously a big question mark if he might bolt for the NFL this offseason.
What's your gut feeling on that?
I think he bolts, because when you're the offensive player of the year in the season he's had, we all know that the NFL stands for not for long, especially in the case of running backs.
Yeah, you got to strike while the iron's hot, right?
Yeah.
And man, that would be a massive blow. Him coming back.
Yeah.
But what if $1 million is coming?
Well, sure, and that's the thing. Can you make it worth his while via NIL and the revenue share hey, you may be a mid-round pick. That's what you're slated to make in this. Can we match it essentially with NIL?
Or we'll beat it by $100,000 or $200,000.
Sure.
And there we are.
And that'll be a conversation that'll be happening, I'm sure, very, very quickly. Probably already, if it hasn't already happened, it's probably coming very soon. But to your point, Alex, that reported $10 to $15 million on top of that revenue share for BYU. Kalani Sitake wasn't dumb when he went into this negotiation with BYU. He understands he needs funds to be able to go out and attract top-tier talent. Now, they do have to abide by BYU standards, obviously the honor code and the like, but he's proven to be able to bring in nice pieces for this team. I think the next step is to be able to match the type of athletes, at least in theory, that a Texas Tech has.
Let's talk a little bit about the college football playoff. You and I haven't been able to jam on it, but I don't know. I have had a hard time articulating how I feel about it, because after that game, I didn't feel like BYU deserved to be in, or like it just felt like what a hard position to be in.
Oh, yeah.
To punch up and be like, oh, no, we're down here still. And
sure.
They were already behind the 8 ball. And so I wondered what your thoughts were as to, and obviously the players are going to say, we deserve to be there, but it almost feels like a marketing campaign. When these players were asked about it, and you saw kind of some of the reactions, Parker Kingston was like pretty active on social media going after it.
Yeah.
What's the feeling in that locker room? Like, Kalani obviously knows you win that game and you don't have to have this discussion.
Correct.
But were they pushing more and more still? I know that Brian Santiago did it on Friday and Thursday, but was it happening as much from the administration after that game on Saturday?
It wasn't, and I was kind of disappointed, and that comes from both BYU and the Big 12 side of things.
I thought Brett Yormark was totally lame. Well, no, I thought it was just not a lot of showing up for the conference, man.
So I'll reiterate a point I've made a couple of times already in the lead-up to this, is I felt like BYU and the Big 12 in particular needed to speak out earlier, especially when the groundwork was laid for BYU being downgraded.
Yes.
Like, we're talking like week 2 of those rankings. They need to start speaking out. The issue was, remember that statement that came out from Brett Yormark says, we plan to earn it on the field. You remember that statement?
Yes.
That sounded tone deaf because, as I said, you can earn it on the field, but the problem is if you can't get into the playoff field, how do you earn it?
Well, and by the way, 11-1 feels like they've earned it on the field.
You'd think so.
And that's why I think that they were like, oh, that'll speak for itself. Look at Are there metrics that we're not seeing that these guys use? Because it seems like they're just kind of going off of whatever the heck they want in that room in that exact moment.
You nailed it.
Team to team.
Hunter Yurachek, who's standing in for Mac Rhodes now.
He's been a disaster for that. And he's filling in, I get it. But
he looks like he is scared of being on air every time he's up there. I'm dead serious.
He should be. And you know what?
There's a far more crass term I want to use to describe the way he operates, but I can't say that on air. But you're right. The issue is that the playoff committee is justifying whatever they need to. They use whatever metric they have. Hans Olsen used a great analogy for this on the post-game show on Saturday. Is he talked about how radio ratings, you know how we get those radio ratings? You can use radio ratings to justify anything.
Right.
You can find a demographic of, no matter how big or small it is, to justify you being number one in whatever parameter you want it to be. That's what it feels like this playoff committee has done. They want X number of teams, whatever teams they want to have in the field. They will use whatever numbers benefit them. So the funny thing is the college basketball selection committee, remember, they have like the net rating, and they go by, they have what they call quality losses, quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4, with your wins and losses.
Sure.
That stuff, they've structured it where they look at those numbers, and that tells them exactly where to slot teams. The playoff committee doesn't have anything
They have
like
zero.
that.
And I wonder if you can do it at that if there's a style or a version of that. We've talked about what those ratings look like because, the reality is that when they would make the explanations, everyone would go, what now? And, like, when he started talking about that Auburn game, and it's like, oh, man, what a great conversion on 4th and 2 against a pretty tough Auburn team at home. They had lost all 4 home games.
Yes, yeah.
In the SEC, and he's like, well, this is a tough team. I just don't get where some of this is going except for I know what it is, and just say it.
Yeah.
So instead of doing the thing where they make up stuff and pretend and just leave them out, leave BYU and Utah out of that conversation early on in the.
Sure.
As soon as you saw how far back they were in the early rankings, you were like, oh, they are not making an effort at all with these guys. So
they don't need to be like belligerent about it, but they needed to speak out earlier.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. We've got hockey coming up at the top of the hour. The Utah Mammoth taking on the LA Kings at Delta Center. Lots going on with that one, and we will get you ready. We've got a best and worst that we're going to do quickly next, and we're going to get you out and get you to that hockey pregame right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Stay with us.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Welcome back. Thanks for being with us on the program. Awesome time for us today here at John Watson Chevrolet. Our best and worst, as always, brought to you by the good folks at Doug Smith, another one of our friends in the car dealership industry. Doug Smith in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Go check them out. Best and worst, we're going to turn the time over to Emmett White. Now, we're not going to give him the whole – I'm not going to force you to speak to us, but he's speaking to the young kids tonight at the banquet tonight for the Northern Utah Player of the Week honors. Former All-American, Hall of Fame member up at Utah State. And how big of a deal is it to get in front of these kids and say some things to them? Do you enjoy doing that?
Oh, man, truly enjoy it. It's a privilege, to still be able to come back and speak to the kids. Just because, I was one of them before, sat in seats, watched people talk also. So, now to be able to flip it and be the person speaking to them, it's a lot of pressure, actually, a little bit.
Well, and you've stayed involved because you're training kind of that next generation of athletes up this way, if I'm not mistaken. Like, how has that been a concerted effort on your part to stay involved with the youth football movement?
Yeah, I mean, training-wise, we train, all sports, but obviously football being the niche.
Yeah.
So we've had some other great people, the Vigils, Pat Scales, some different people, Marcus Kemp, guys from this northern area that have.
I think the Vigils were at this very party years ago, right?
So, pull back the curtain. I've done this for the last, 12 years, and we've had the Vigil boys here. They've won awards and whatnot, and it's crazy to watch them go on and play in the NFL. But that's the fun part about it. You're seeing kind of the next generation of these great athletes. Trayton Bessinger, for example, was here earlier.
Yeah.
You signed with Iowa. So you're looking at some of the next kind of crop of talent that we're going to see rise up.
Yeah, no, and it's always good to be around those guys. And to see this group is actually a very talented group. Because, some of them a lot of them are getting some of these national honors where, the Vigils, different people weren't necessarily on that level. But
they have the same talent
to develop.
We've gotten so much better at propping these kids up, I think, nowadays, and being like, they're right there with a lot of these other. You always think Florida, Texas, and California. And it's like, no, these guys, they got ballers here in the state of Utah too at the prep level. They got some exceptional athletes, and they've got so much to deal with now too.
Yeah.
You think about these guys coming at them and all the things they have to deal with. What's something you want to say about the adversity that kids face and how to kind of overcome it?
You know what? I couldn't. That's a tough one because I couldn't imagine, the dollar figures and the things that these kids now deal with.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Before it was just you played football, you worked your butt off. You just got on the field and played, and that was your way to continue getting bigger was your way if you wanted to make money. Now you can start to save yourself early. So.
Emmett White, Utah State, great. Appreciate you jumping on the program and giving us some words, man. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So good luck tonight. Look, we warmed you up. It's fine. You're going to be fine tonight because we warmed you up. We got you talking to the radio audience. I think it's good. All right. Utah Mammoth hockey coming right up right here on the KSL Sports Zone. You don't want to miss it. The puck drops at 7 o'clock, but listen right here. Many thanks to John Watson Chevrolet again for sponsoring this great event. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.